Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another amazing episode. Today, I am joined by my friend, Dr. Amy Horniman, and I couldn't be more excited for this conversation. I know you're going to get so much out of it. So, Amy, welcome to the show.
Woo! Thank you. Thanks, Mindy, for having me.
That's exactly how I feel about everything that we are about to talk about. Like, whoo! So, to start off, some of my listeners might not know much about you. And I wanted to get a little bit of the background of like your journey into what you are doing now. Please tell me a little bit about that entrepreneurial adventure.
Absolutely. Well, I think a lot of us enter whatever space we're in on our entrepreneurial journey through pain. I mean, pain is just part of life. We've all been through it, some more than others, but that pain guides us. And, we could get all esoteric as to how you look at it and all that. But for me, it was really going through what I went through that brought me into functional medicine, that brought me into specializing in thyroid and hormones. So this goes back 20 some odd years. I used to compete in bodybuilding, fitness, figure competitions. I had a little nutrition side business too that I would help different competitors get ready for a show, but I would never do my own diet. I mean, we all need coaches, especially in business and life. We need somebody else looking at our situation, kind of guiding us and telling us. So I had a coach to get me ready for a show. And what I mean by get ready for a show, I mean you're eating chicken, broccoli, and asparagus and hitting the gym twice a day, and you're always second guessing yourself. Like, am I doing this right? Am I eating right? Am I working out hard enough? So I had a coach that I had to check in with to tell me, okay, here's what we're going to do this week to tweak things. And this one show, I'd worked with this coach many times, so he knew me. This one show I'm getting ready for, the scale's going up. Now, when you're getting ready to step on stage in a bikini, guess what you want the scale to do? You want it to go in the opposite
Yeah,
direction.
not up.
Right, right. I'm just saying, because you're presenting your best self. You're presenting your leanest, most muscular self on stage, and then you're being judged for it too. So you really want to look your best. And all the different times I had done a show before, my body had responded. You lose the weight, you tighten up, you keep your muscle, you lean out, all of that. And this show, the scale kept going up, 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 up. And I'm talking 25 pounds is when I stopped getting on the scale. I think, Mindy, I think it went to 40 pounds on my 5'2" frame while
Yeah,
going to the gym twice a day.
that's why I'm looking like this, shocked. Like, I'm like, you're not that big of a person.
Right, exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, going through that, I had felt frustrated. I felt embarrassed. I started hiding my body in big sweatshirts. I felt judged. It's like I could feel the whispers of people at the gym going, oh, yeah, she's eating too many donuts, and that's why she's epically failing at this show prep. But I wasn't. I even my coach thought I was cheating too, and I wasn't. I was doing all the things, all the things. So during that process of frustration, I went to six different doctors. Six different doctors misdiagnosed me. They told me I was normal. Everything was fine. It's all in my head. Just eat less and exercise more. You're good. Now, I was in my 20s. I wasn't ready to hang up life and just accept that my body's giving me the middle finger. I wanted to do something about it. I wanted to know why my body was doing this to me. So I kept going. Now, the average person, and I know your listeners are not average, but let's face it, when we look at the average person out there, they're going to stop at doctor number three. They're going to stop at doctor number four. That's four white coats, four authority figures who went to medical school telling you that you're normal and everything is fine. But I refuse to stop. I'm like, no, I'm not going to take that answer. So I kept going. And at the time, I mean, we're talking early 2000s here, functional medicine wasn't a thing. We had integrative, we had alternative medicine. We didn't have functional medicine. But I found a functional medicine practitioner who was practicing alternatively and integratively and combined all of it. And he sat down with me for 90 minutes, not a 5 to 7 minute visit that I was getting at the doctor's office, 90 minutes, went through all my labs, told me exactly what was wrong, told me what we needed to do to fix it, and literally changed my life. So that was the turning point of my career. So that's when I was like, that's it. I'm going into functional medicine. I was in a major medical system at the time, UPMC Pittsburgh. It's right up there with Cleveland Clinic, Mayo Clinic. So if y'all think you're going to go to these top level hospitals and get top level care, please remember that there are still human beings who are fallible and who had to graduate last in their class at some point, right? So that's who you're dealing with. You have to be an advocate for yourself. And that's what I was. And I found the answer to what was going on with my body and totally changed careers. So that brought me up to what, 20 some years ago. Now, I would say the last 6 to 7 years has been the most interesting part of my entrepreneurial journey, working with more people because we can prescribe to all 50 states. So that's allowed me to work with more and more and more individuals and really see the impact. And this is where it ties to your audience, see the impact that thyroid optimization and hormone optimization can do to a person's life, not just to their weight, not just to their energy, but how it affects their work, their ability to make money, their ability to make decisions, their relationships, like interpersonal friends, colleagues, employees. I mean, it starts stretching out and it has fingers beyond what we tend to focus on, beyond what your social media influencer will post about the thyroid. It has way more reach to different aspects of our life than what I even realized 20 some years ago. And so now just my passion is really helping people up level their entire life, not just lose weight, not just grow some more hair, but really up level their entire life.
Okay, so I want to talk quite in depth about this whole thyroid thing. Reason being is pretty much everybody that I know has at least someone, if not themselves, going through some sort of thyroid thing. When I had mentioned you I was with a bunch of friends in Phoenix recently, literally everybody was like, oh, tell me her name, like, give me her site, like, I need this because I have this, or my mom has this, or so and so. And then talking to a dear friend of mine who's a dude, he was saying his thyroid is something's going on there. And I was like, oh, interesting, because I would say the majority of people that at least I hear from are women. So that's like
Mm-hmm.
a thing. Everybody knows that. But now I'm like, ah, man, it's affecting everybody. So let's dig into some of the science, some of the health aspects. Like, talk to us. Let's just pretend that we don't know anything about anything.
Okay.
And let's start from like the basics of like what the heck is the thyroid even supposed to be doing? What goes wrong? And then what are some ways that we can start to fix things?
Okay, let's do it. So let's start with the phrase from head to toe, it runs the show. That is
Okay.
your thyroid.
I like
So your
it.
thyroid is the master gland from head to toe, it runs the show. So if you think about, all right, let's start at the top. Your hair growth, your brain function, memory, cognition, motivation, mood, all run by the thyroid. Then we can go down and we can go, okay, your heart rate, your core body temperature, metabolism, obviously, your ability to burn fat, your ability to lose weight or not lose weight, dictated by the thyroid. We go down to the gut, your gut motility, whether or not you poop every day is dictated by your thyroid gland. So a lot of your
Wow.
listeners might be going, you know what? It's been like 3 days. Okay, that's not good.
It's not good.
that's that's not good for the record. Okay, I know you guys are entrepreneurs, but I'm just telling you, it's not good. Then we move down to joints, like joint pain, muscle pain. It's all controlled by the thyroid. So we have to start there. We have to start with the master gland. Once we look at, and then we have to unpack that. So when I say when we look at the thyroid gland, I'm talking about testing it thoroughly. And we can go through all the testing that people need to get done. But when you get that proper testing done, that thorough testing, and you're looking at it through the lens that I look at it, through the optimal lens, then you can see things and you can tie things into people's symptoms that your basic conventional medicine doctor wouldn't, or quite frankly, even your run-of-the-mill functional doctor might not know because they don't specialize in the thyroid, they don't specialize in hormones. So when we're looking at thyroid testing, It's important to get everything done. It's important to look through it through an optimal lens and not just normal. So in my book, The Thyroid Fix, I talk about normal is a setting on the dryer. It really is. I mean, you never want to hear, oh, Mindie, your labs are normal. Because you're going to be sitting there going like, normal. Okay, that's baseline. I strive for better in all things
Right.
in my life. I want to be better. I want to be optimal. I want to be the top tier. I don't want to just be here with the normies. I want to be up here, right? And it's the
Exactly. Yeah.
same thing. It's the same thing with our health. We want to be up here. We want to be optimal. We want to be functioning at a high level. And that really starts with looking at the master gland the right way.
Okay, so that is awesome. And one of the things I so appreciated about you when you and I started talking, I had worked with other doctors in the past where they basically were just prescribing what felt very like it felt very random. Like, oh, this is your symptom. So let's try this and let's see if that works. And I was like, can we do some tests to like actually see what's going on? And then that was the first thing that you said to me is like, let's test and see. And I'm like, thank goodness somebody is actually looking at the real stuff. So I so appreciate that. Talking about like what causes things to go out of whack. Like, so that's all the stuff that it handles, which is
Right.
basically everything. What are the challenges that is, making it so pervasive right now?
So we all have a thyroid, so we can start there. So all of us have it, male, female, doesn't matter your age, you have a thyroid gland. Unless, of course, you've had it removed for whatever reason. And then you actually know that you have a thyroid problem because somebody took it out. So we all have a thyroid gland. We all need, let's say with this, we all need thyroid hormone. In every single cell in our body, there is a receptor site on it for thyroid hormone. That's why we can tie it in and say from head to toe, it runs the show. The reason why the thyroid slows down, doesn't work well, we call it hypothyroidism, hypo, low, and slow. Everything slows to a halt. So again, constipation, slow, metabolism, slow, brain function, low and slow. So everything slows down. What makes the thyroid gland slow down can be one of two things. The first and foremost is something called Hashimoto's. I think we're all familiar with autoimmunity. We've heard a lot about autoimmune conditions, autoimmunity. Autoimmunity just means that you have this group of soldiers in your body that are very, very confused. They have the wrong messaging imprinted in them. And they believe, in the case of hypothyroidism or Hashimoto's, as we call it, they believe that your thyroid gland is a bad guy and they like to go out and attack it. Now we know autoimmunity like rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, your soldiers are attacking your joints. Crohn's disease, your soldiers are attacking your gut. Same thing with Hashimoto's, your soldiers are attacking your thyroid gland. Hashimoto's makes up about 95% of all cases. And
Wow.
autoimmunity is rampant right now.
Yeah.
And it's really because when we live in a toxic world. I mean, I think we all know that with even just the talk on social about glyphosate and BPA and plastics and all the different xenoestrogens or fake estrogens, chemicals in our food, frankenfoods. We know that we are in a toxic soup environment. So that's number one, that it's triggering Hashimoto's. The other component is that we really are more stressed now than ever. I mean, yes, we have these beautiful AI tools that on one hand makes our job easier, on the other hand creates a layer of stress, and it's really even creating a layer of stress within the entrepreneurial community because I think we're all going, how is this going to affect our business? How is this actually going to affect my job? How is
Yeah.
this going to affect how we do things? So even just the AI component, and that's not even talking about the extra pressures and the increased cost of
Yeah,
things
that's just
and
one
I
piece.
mean, that's just one stressor amongst all the other ones that we deal with. I mean, I know like we're recording this at my time, noon, and I've already dealt with having to let go an employee. I've dealt with, things not happening on my team. It's like that's all before noon.
Yeah.
So the amount of stress that we are under, especially as business owners, is exponential. And we know that stress, hormonal fluctuations, which by the way happen to males and females over the age of 40. Just if you didn't know that, it's going to happen. Hormonal fluctuations, stress, and toxins have all increased autoimmune conditions exponentially. Now, we have a stat for hypothyroidism that it affects 1 in 8 women. That's the diagnosed, though. What about the people like me and all the women that come into the clinic? And I say women because women get hit harder. I'll unpack that in a minute. What about all the people that come into the clinic going, I've been told that I was normal and everything is fine, just like I was.
Right. So not diagnosed.
Is it 1 in 8 or is it more like 1 in 4? Right? Is it more like 1 in 4? And that's basically the cancer rate that we're dealing with right now.
Mm.
So, it's something to look at. It really is something to pay attention to, that hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's is on the rise. Now, it hits women more than men for two reasons. Number one, us ladies have more fluctuating hormones. So our hormones fluctuate on a 28-day cycle. And then when you throw in something like pregnancy,
Mm.
perimenopause, menopause. I mean, your hormones are on a freaking roller coaster. Like they're going nutty. So that alone, those hormonal shifts, and I know you're sitting there going, well, pregnancy is a beautiful thing, and you produce it. Yes, you do, but it is a freaking stressor on your body. Huge. So that is enough to kind of turn on almost like a light switch that was in the off position. It turns it on. And that's where you'll hear so many people say, well, it was after my second child that my body went to hell in a handbasket. It was, after I turned 40. It
Yeah.
was after I turned 50. So it's these transition times, or it could even be tied to, well, it was after I got a divorce. It was after I quit my job. It was after I started my own business. Those
Stress.
stressful times that flip on that switch. So that can happen. It happens to more to women because of our hormones, but really, I mean, it can happen to males and females because we're all going through stress.
Yeah, I was shocked. I had always, my whole life, been, I would say, exceptionally healthy. And then after 40, when this, well, one, with my husband's death, so there was that. Two, just being over 40, I still am astonished at all the craziness going on. And I'm like, what is happening? Why is this happening? Us having the mindset of always having been very healthy, to have that, it's a little crazy making, I will be honest with you.
Oh yeah, no, it'll drive you nuts because you're trying to figure out, and we all like control, right? As entrepreneurs, we like to be in control.
Definitely.
And that pertains to our bodies as well. So
Right.
when our bodies go out of control and we don't feel like we have a grasp on things, it really starts rattling us inside. It shakes us to the core because then you really start to think like, okay, if I don't have control over my own body, do I have control over my business? Do I have control over where this is going? Do I have, it starts affecting you on this weird subconscious level. I don't know if you experience that too, but
No, absolutely. Because
yeah.
especially people like us that are smart and ambitious and like to figure things out and solve problems and get shit done.
Hmm.
In some cases, it's like, well, I actually don't know even what to do to fix this or how to fix this or if it can be fixed. And there's so many questions. So it's very unsettling, I would say, from my own experience. I want to like shift into talking about this very special day that happens to be today because your book is coming out today when this podcast airs. I'm so stoked. You can see it right there behind her, the Thyroid Fix. Talk to me about one, the process of that book, because you and I have shared a bit on the whole book deal, book writing thing.
Hmm.
Talk to me about that because I guarantee that there are people listening right now that would be like, oh my gosh, I would love to have a book deal.
Right.
Tell me about that.
So, I think like most of us, your book is living in your mind somewhere. You know it, right? Just like you, Mindy, writing your book, it's been there for years.
Yep.
This book has been there in my mind for years. And of course, with the podcast, it's like you talk about pieces, but at what point do you put it all together so that all of the things that you've said, all of the things that you've taught people, all the things that you want people to know can be packaged into a container? And that's really what the process was for the thyroid fix. I had thought about in the beginning, Okay, maybe I take all the podcasts and I do the transcripts and I turn those into, but it was really clunky. I actually don't recommend doing that. I recommend just going, like just whether you are a talker, I'm a talker. So I just opened up recording. I actually have this little voice recorder app that then transcribes it. And I just open up that app. I'd be walking my dog, I'd be working out, and I'd be talking to it and just brain dumping everything. And I'd be talking to it as if, and this is exactly how I wanted the book to come out, as if you and I are sitting down having coffee, as if
Love it.
I'm explaining to you as my best girlfriend what the hell you need to do to feel better. And we really start with unpacking whether or not you have a thyroid problem. Now, here's the thing that I tell everybody because I get this question a lot. Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's my thyroid. I don't know. Okay, do you have symptoms? So, your symptoms, whatever they are, and I'm not saying your symptoms directly tie to your thyroid, but let's start with symptoms. Your symptoms are a gift given to you by your body
Yeah.
that is telling you you better look a little bit deeper here. Now, if you ignore that gift, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. If you ignore that gift, it's going to get louder and a lot more unpleasant. But if you listen to those symptoms in the beginning, it's like a blueprint, it's a roadmap to say, okay, I need to look here, here, and here. And then we can break it down. So I literally take readers through the process of, okay, if you don't even know if you have a thyroid problem, that's okay. We have an assessment right in the beginning. We go through those top symptoms and then we take you on this journey. And I will tell you quite honestly, Mindie, that this book is going to ruffle feathers of the medical community like crazy.
Good.
So if your listeners are now like, you should be. Because what I do in the thyroid fix has not been done yet in any thyroid book and any hormone book. Really, I mean, I don't think anybody has gone out on the limb that I've gone out on and talked about this. So I am literally teaching the reader not only how to interpret their own labs. That's pretty easy for me to do. And that's easy for y'all to learn. I promise you. So I teach you that, but then we figure out together exactly what thyroid hormone replacement, what you need to do to get better. So remember the books? You might be too young, I'm not sure, but Choose Your Own Adventure.
Wait, aren't we like the same age?
I don't know. You look younger. I always look at you and I think you're like 30. So I'm not sure, but
I'm almost 50.
oh my God. Okay. All right. You probably told me that before and I can't get it out of my head because you look 30. But
I do
okay,
know the
then you
choose your own adventure. I actually use that all the time with my clients because that's life.
I love it. I love those books too.
Me
So that's
too.
exactly kind of like how we structure. Like, okay, if this, then go here. And if this, then go here. And then I walk readers through exactly how to find a doctor and talk to their doctor too. So it's
Oh,
literally
nice.
a step by step process that nobody's ever given the blueprint for before. You know, all the other books on the market are like how to heal your thyroid naturally with, eat this food and sprinkle some fairy dust on it and you'll be okay. Um, no one has really gotten into the hormone replacement component. We're talking about hormone replacement as far as aging, testosterone for guys and ladies, estrogen and progesterone for the ladies. We're talking about menopause, but we're not really talking about thyroid hormone replacement. And what
Mm.
happens when we lose the master gland hormone? Well, it starts affecting our entire body. So by replacing that properly, and there is a right and a wrong way to do it, you can absolutely feel your best. I always say you get to feel like the badass human that you're meant to be. Because especially your listeners, they're all badasses.
Yeah.
You should feel like that every single freaking day of your life. And if you don't, then you're losing out. You're missing out. You should have FOMO because you can live in optimization land where life is freaking good. And I invite you there. But in order to get there, you have to focus on the master gland. And that's what I teach people. That's why I teach the readers of the Thyroid Fix.
Okay. That is so awesome. I think that like one of the reasons, if not many, one of the reasons that it will ruffle the feathers is that you're giving the power back to people themselves to say,
Mhm.
I can learn about this. I can figure this out. I can see what's best for myself, feel into my own situation, my own symptoms, my own whatever, and go from there, as opposed to the the power only being in the white coats that you mentioned, with the degrees and the et cetera. And there's nothing, I don't take anything away from those folks because
Right.
awesome. And to me, there is a big and. It's like we live in our own body. Who best to know it, to recognize what's going on in there, and then to use books like the Thyroid Fix as treasure maps, if you will, like
Yeah, I like that.
guides along the way to say, like, okay, let's look here, let's do this, or here's another alternative, which just thank you for being willing and being the badass that you are. I want to ask you about something else that just comes to mind when I'm thinking about you and being a badass. You and I are in a particular group together run by Michael Fishman. And there was one call that was happening live on Zoom, and you had texted everybody and said, "Hey, like, I'm not going to be there because I'm in a deer blind right now." And I was like, "Who is this lady?" Like, that is the most badass reason I've probably ever heard for not being on a call. Like, talk to me about your lifestyle, because like, you and I don't know each other that well, but the sense that I have is, even though you have this extraordinarily successful business, you're running all these things, podcast, book, et cetera, patient, everybody, you still are doing random stuff, traveling with your husband. Like, so tell me how the lifestyle piece fits in.
Well, I think we all struggle to find that balance. We all do. And entrepreneurs are the worst. We just are to find that work-life balance. We're
Right.
horrible. So I think, for me, it's learning from those who have gone before me. I mean, your husband, Joe Polish, all these great leaders that have already been there and done that, who can look back at us. I don't want to say look down at us, but kind of look back at us to say, here's what I've learned that's important. Please do not burn yourself out. Please hold on to those hobbies or joyful things that you do in life and keep doing them, because if work takes over, it's going to affect your health and it's going to affect your relationships. It's going to affect everything. So seeing those people who have passed down that advice, and I'm so appreciative of, I really try to work that into my life and carve out the time to do those things that I enjoy. So one of those things is hunting. My husband got me into both archery and gun hunting. We do whitetail deer because I live in Iowa. We have big bucks here with big racks. And for the average person listening to that, they're going to be like, "What is she talking about?"
Right.
I didn't know either back in the day. I didn't know, but yes, so we grow big deer here, and I like to hunt them. But yes, we do eat them too. We have utmost respect for these animals.
I
And,
appreciate that.
I mean, you got to be careful these days too on Instagram, because I have posted, the picture of me getting a big buck, and oh my gosh, I never anticipated the comments. But just to clarify, we respect these animals, and we also know that there is such thing as overpopulation, and then there's disease spreading amongst the herd. You have to control and thin out the herd. You have to. Whenever animals overpopulate, and this is what I said to a person on Instagram that was like, "That's disgusting." I'm like, well, okay, what's worse? Me killing a deer with one shot, or that deer developing something called chronic wasting disease, which basically eats him from the inside out
Yes.
as he spreads it to the rest of the herd. Like, that's not it. That's not cool. That's not good for the deer. So we actually have to. And then we use the meat. I mean, it feeds my family. We give it to other families. Iowa actually has a program called Hush, where you can donate a deer to feed, hungry families.
Cool.
So yeah, it really is pretty cool. And it allows me to get into my parasympathetic, believe it or not. When you are sitting there, and there's a difference between killing and hunting. Hunting is patience,
Waiting.
it's time, it's waiting, it's watching, it's observing, it's being in that parasympathetic until, of course, the deer walks out, and then you're like, "Wow, deer." And then you're in the sympathetic, you're all amped up and adrenaline's going.
Right.
But that's the fun of it. And that's the therapy of it, is you can literally shift from state to state in an instant. And you know that being out there in nature is like one of the best things for your body and for
Most
your health.
healing. Yes.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. So that actually leads me into this question that I ask all of my guests. It's a four-part question based on an acronym herb, HERB. So the H stands for habits. What are some of your personal, either daily, weekly, whatever habits that allow you in the midst of what could be looked at from the outside as like a very stressful life just because of the number of things you've got going on and the things that you're running and attending to? What are
Mhm.
the habits that keep you most grounded?
Yeah. Yeah. So I carve out in the morning. There is walk dog and workout time, and that is precious. So when people ask for an 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. appointment, the answer is no, because that time is already blocked out. We can
Yeah.
do later in the day. That's cool, but that is my blocked out sacred time. So I do that at the beginning of the day. And then at the end of the day, I'm sorry, I just love Netflix. I just do. Like
You don't have
my
to be sorry about that.
I mean, people are so proud. Like, I don't watch TV at all. I read. Well, good for
Whatever.
you. I don't. I need decompression. I need to not talk to anybody because I've been talking to people all day and
Yeah.
I need something just brainless on the TV. And I have my Netflix snack and I decompress, even if it's for a half an hour. That is like my decompression time at the end of the day. Because I heard this quote a while ago and it stuck with me. If you don't stop working, you don't stop working. Like, think about that. Like, if there's not a definitive end to your work day, you don't stop
Yeah.
working until you close your eyes to go to bed. And then that's going to fuck up your sleep. So, we don't want to do that. Yeah. You have to stop at some point.
So what's your favorite Netflix type of show?
I go from anything. Right now, I'm in the animal kingdom. I know that's an old show, but it resurfaced.
Nice.
Somebody told
I
me it
love
was
that.
good. Like, I'm binging on that. I bounce over to Stranger Things when my husband's home. So we'll watch that together. It varies. It varies.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So moving on to the E in
Yep.
herb, that stands for environment. So you talked about like when you're out in the deer blind, that environment, but what's your normal environment look like on a day-to-day basis? The way that you can keep your space or, even mental environment to achieve all the things that you achieve and like also not be super stressed at the same time.
I actually love where I live. Ever since 2020, we moved our offices to our homes. A lot of
Nice.
people never moved out of their home with their office. And I love that. I mean, personally, I just absolutely love it because I love being able to move freely through my home, come into my little sanctuary that I made my office/recording studio, and yet still okay, if I have a half an hour, let's take the dog outside, get some fresh air, get some sun, run upstairs to grab a snack. I love it. So my environment is my home, which is where I love to be.
Yeah, I love that too. I work from home. My office is at home, and it's my favorite thing. And my
Mhm.
commute is like from my bedroom to the kitchen to the office. That works for me.
Exactly.
The R in herb stands for resources. Resources could be books, podcasts, people, mentors, whatever. And of course, there are 80 bazillion of them that have influenced us. But if you could pick maybe a few, what are some of the like most potent resources that have really helped you in your entrepreneurial journey or your health journey or whatever, just to get you where you are today?
Yeah. So I would break those up over time. In the very beginning of, we'll say, building a larger business, building the telehealth practice, implementing the podcast, really building what the business is today. I go all the way back to credit JJ Virgin and Mindshare.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
joined the
nice.
Mindshare Mastermind, and that gave me that foundation and those principles and the community of like-minded health individuals to really start to build. Then from there went into Genius Network. And that's I really truly believe that we all need that, whether you call it a mastermind or whatever kind of group, a business group, whatever it is, networking group, you need like-minded individuals because as entrepreneurs, I don't know how you feel, but I feel like I'm on an island sometimes. I mean, there's not many close, immediate friends in my vicinity that we can just go hang out and talk about business or talk about what it is to run a business or talk about the life of an entrepreneur, which is kind of crazy,
Yeah,
because it's like, okay, it's President's Day today. Do we have off? Hell no.
we're
We
working.
don't have off. What is that? Like, come on. So just being around people who get you, who get that crazy drive, the ideas, the creativity that your mind is always doing. It's almost like it feels like family, but it's also a group that can pull you to the next level. I think we all need that. And then I would say the individuals that I have become such good friends with within those groups that I've
Yeah.
met from those groups. And then they become that anchor. There's two people in particular that I'm very, very close to. And I love the fact, they're both entrepreneurs too. And I love the fact that I can pick up the phone and go, okay, I just need to bitch right now. You just got to hear me out here. And maybe if you have some advice, throw it out there. But man, I just need to get this off my chest. And ultimately, they will come back with, I get you.
Right.
I'm going through the same thing. Or they'll come back with, okay, let me help you shift your perspective. And that's all we need. That's
Hmm.
all we need. So if you can find one, I think in this world, in this life, we're lucky if we have one person like that. If you can have two, that's a bonus. But if you can just find one person who gets you, I really believe that that's all you need to pull yourself through the bad days.
It really makes all the difference. And, I love that you brought up JJ. She's also been on this show. And I've heard that same comment about her from so many different people. Like she really, brought me up, if you will, mentored me and had a greater vision for me. I know that I've had conversations with her just about that. Like for me, that's amazing. And
Yeah.
of course, the whole genius crew is very near and dear to my heart. That's awesome. We well, I'll say we, but I'm going to separate out myself. And I just want to say this to the listener. Even those of us like myself who are hugely, hugely, hugely on the introvert side of the spectrum, not very social, prefer quiet, highly sensitive people, all of that stuff, it's still so vital. It's still so important. I had somebody recently on a call, like a group coaching call, ask me if I thought that AI would be able to take over like all of the coaching and the therapy and the whatever. And I was like, no, because you're still missing that human connection, which is what you're speaking to, somebody that actually gets you, that they can look at you and say, you know what, you got this. Like, let's go. I don't even know how it's going to work out, but like, I'm going to be there with you. And that an AI can't do that.
Right. Right. It can't. And I think that that's really the the key with AI is that we all have to remember, no matter how stressed you might get as to what AI is going to do to your business, will it help or it hurt? If you are interacting with people, which most of us are,
Right.
AI cannot take that component away. And in fact, I even feel a little bit of a shift that the general population, which would be our customers, our consumers, that they are going to be like, you know what, enough with the AI bullshit. Give me people, give me community back, please and thank you. And I think it's going to shift the other way. I really do.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, there's always that pendulum swing, right? Like we're going to go so far into the AI and then, we'll work our way back to the other side and eventually find some balance. But yeah, I definitely, I'm not concerned. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't bother me. So the final aspect of this question, the B stands for beliefs. I am a firm believer that our beliefs shape our reality and also shape the potential that we have to create out in the world and build and all of that. I'd love to hear what some of your core beliefs are that have really just been a guiding force in your life.
So I would say, well, first, I'm going to say we're always working on that. It's, it's so easy to shift into competition mode, comparison mode, and it screws up our beliefs. It's like it throws us off track. But when you're in the flow, like everybody talks about being in the flow, when you're in the flow, when you're in the vortex, whatever you want to say, when you're coasting along and you're focused and you're driven, and nothing can tip you off center easily. Then at that point in time, which I would say makes up about 90%, you have the 10% that your mind goes off and you start to, worry and get concerned and have
Right.
these false beliefs that you have to squash. But 90% of the time, and it's funny, I joke with this with my team. I have the belief and I'm threatened to make us t-shirts that we'll figure it out. I always say that. Like no matter what, I'm like, we'll figure it out. No, this is really bad. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Like we always do. We always have, and we will get through it and be better on the other side. We'll figure it the fuck out. So I would, I know that that might not be a common answer from your guests, but that really is my belief system that keeps me grounded and the team grounded to where when something happens, it's like, it's okay. We will figure it out. Like there's nothing that is so catastrophic
Right.
that we can't come together as a team, put all of our collective heads together and figure out a solution. So that's been my belief system with every hurdle that we've had in business because you're going to have hurdles. So you better be prepared for those. Really, that's the belief system that has pulled us through.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that in and of itself is entrepreneurship because I work with a lot of, I don't want to say younger, but like, let's say earlier stage entrepreneurs. And there's so many questions of like, well, what should I do or how to do this? And I'm like, we at whatever level, it's not like we know what we're doing. We are constantly figuring it out, to your point. Like, it's not like you arrive some time and say, oh, now I have it all together. And now I know
Exactly.
what the hell I'm doing, because most of us don't. We are figuring it out as we go. And the only thing is to continue to figure it out. And then you can kind of continue to rise up in those like levels of whatever. But I love that. And that is the basis of, I think, any successful business. You just continue to figure stuff out. So that's super valuable. Thank you.
One of the best posters I've ever seen, Joe Polish has it in the Genius Network headquarters.
Yeah.
And I've been looking for it. I cannot find it. So if anybody has a copy, just DM me on Instagram. I want to buy this. It's the one that says a day in the life of an entrepreneur. And it's like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, yay! Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, yay! Oh fuck, oh fuck. And that is it. That summarizes it so perfectly. That is
Yep.
it.
Did you look at, so Gaping Void is the guy that does those?
Okay. I
So,
looked on the website, but I could not
he
find
didn't
that
have
one.
it. Okay.
I know.
I bet I'll see what I can do.
Wrestle one up. Yeah.
Because I know exactly what you're talking about. And it's, yes, that is so it.
It's
So
it.
I wanted to let people know that we have a special giveaway going on. If you were to share this post on Substack, that is called Restacking, you just click the little button. What you're going to have potentially happen is I'm going to send you a free The Thyroid Fix book. Now, the way that'll work is when you share it, you'll be entered into just a random drawing. I'll pick somebody from that group and I'll reach out, get your name and address, and send you a free copy of Amy's book that, again, is coming out today. So take a look at wherever you buy books, Barnes and Noble, Amazon, whatever, Amy's site. Speaking of Amy, let's
Yeah.
tell them where they can find out more about you.
Absolutely. So you can go to dramy.com. That's DRAMIE. From there, you can be directed to the podcast. If you are interested in checking out your thyroid and your hormones and getting some real help with those, we do prescribe to all 50 states, like I mentioned before. So we got you covered. So check that out. Book a call if you're interested. Thyroid Fixer podcast. And then the book at thyroidfixbook.com. But like Mindie said, you can find it on Barnes and Noble, Amazon, or you can go to thyroidfixbook.com and order it right from there and get in on some of the bonuses too.
Perfect. So I will link to all of that stuff in the description down below. So make sure to check out everything that Amy's got going on. As she mentioned, it's AMIE, which I said, hey, you're spelling it right, because that's how I spell Mindie.
There you
So
go.
make sure you find it. Take a look at how your thyroid is doing. I think that pretty much everybody listening to this now, at least will have the question like, well, how is my thyroid doing? So they're going to want to know. Just a clarification question, because I think some people may not know this. When you say we prescribe in all 50 states, that's different than others. What do you mean by that?
Right. So let me clarify. So, one of the big hurdles that I had, obviously, in the beginning of my journey, and that even in the beginning of practice where I didn't have the capacity or the team to prescribe outside of basically Pennsylvania, where I used to live, um, is the prescription end of things. So standard of care in the conventional six system for thyroid is to only test one marker. If this marker is high, you give one medication, call it a day. That medication doesn't even work 98% of the time. So the ability to prescribe to all 50 states is our ability to nuance and give you personalized treatment for your thyroid, to look at you as an individual, to ask you how you feel, to test thoroughly. And then there's the hormonal piece too. You know, a lot of thyroid practitioners will only focus on the thyroid. Hormone practitioners will only do hormones, but not thyroid. The two play together. So as we are aging, men, you're losing testosterone, women, you're losing all three hormones, testosterone, estradiol, and progesterone. We need to replace those hormones as well. So we address both low hormones, whether you're, I don't care if you're 30, you could have low progesterone, low testosterone, low hormones and low thyroid at the same time, because it really is a both and situation. You have to be looking at them in totality, in the individual, from an optimal, not just normal standpoint. So that is what we do. And I always joke, I'm like, we can do this with our hands tied behind our back in our sleep. So when you are looking for a practitioner, it's very important that you don't just go, I'm just going to go to the functional medicine doc down my street. Like, no, are they a thyroid and hormone expert, or are they maybe like an adrenal expert or a mold expert? Like, you want to really work with someone that specializes in thyroid and hormones. And that's why I built the team so that we could prescribe to all 50 states. So there's no limitation there based on where you live.
So awesome. So I will end with this final question. I was telling you earlier how I really love to look at this concept of wealth as a much broader, bigger concept than just money. You know, how much is in your bank account or how much does your business make? Like whatever, who cares? What does wealth mean to you? How do you define wealth?
I think it's a beautiful blend of both having the resources that you worked hard to obtain. You know, so it's one thing to have resources because your, you know, parents are rich and they
A
set up a
trust
trust
fund,
fund for you,
baby.
right? A trust fund, baby, right? But when you bust your ass
Yeah.
and you're going through the hard times that we already discussed, then and you succeed at something, again, it's just like that poster. Like when you have those, yay, this worked. Oh my God, this is so cool. That joy, that success, that overcoming a challenge is so impactful and so fulfilling. But then, okay, I also have more resources now. And let's face it, no money doesn't buy happiness, but it makes life a lot easier.
Yes.
And then on top of that, yes, you do have to look at what are your relationships? You know, how are they how are your relationships doing with the people that are closest to you? Because I mean, that is true. If you don't have the support system, if you don't have the team and the teammates to love on you and support you and cheer you on and be there for you in the bad days, and it doesn't have to be a partner or a spouse. It could just be that entrepreneur friend that I talked about that you can call up anytime, leave a voice message and be like, "Help me, please." If you
Totally.
don't have that, then does the overcoming challenge and the money matter? No, all of a sudden those two buckets don't even matter.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to have all the components there to have wealth. You really do. And then of course, I mean, we have to tie in health. I mean, that's the classic. What is the saying? Help me out here. If
When
uh
you have your health, like there's all the options or something, and then when you don't have it, there's only
so
one
right,
focus
yeah,
or
when
something like that. I know what you're talking about.
yes, yeah, a man who has his
Has his health,
health has
has
a million things to think about.
yeah, and then when you don't
The
have your
man
health,
who doesn't has
there's
one.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
we got
Yeah.
it.
We unpack that very well. Yes. But that's true as well. I mean, you have to throw in the health component, but I almost think that that's a given. It's like we know that. Like we know that part. We got to move over here.
We know that, and I would say, a lot of this audience knows that, but I would maybe hesitate to say that like the collective knows that, because look at the
Look at
stats
the
in our
collective. Yeah.
country, you know?
Yeah.
So like this is why books like yours, podcasts like yours are so vitally important to say, hey, folks, let's look a little deeper at what are the causes of what is going on here. And then that just has a ripple effect on outward. So, Amy, this has been absolutely a joy, a delight, an honor. Thank you so, so much for being here. I so appreciate you and what you're up to.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate you back.